Good evening, America. Let's get right into the news. Today, we delve deeper into the news that no other channel would cover. We remember the tragedy that befell Europe 15 years ago, and we cover the recent launch of North Korean missiles aimed at North America. But first, bees! What are they? For more on this story, we go over to Tom.
Thank you, Frank. After all the bees died a couple of years ago and the entire British Empire collapsed from the lack of honey for their tea, a new solution had to be engineered quickly. Enter Plan B, aka the drone. A clever device with an even cleverer name, since a male bee is called a drone, and a drone is called a drone. The acronym stands for Don't Reap What You Don't Sow. The synthetic bees were originally intended as a way to pollinate plants, but they slowly grew into an army of cameras, as we see here. This was the second last remaining prophecy to ring true from the incredible series Black Mirror, the last one being National Anthem. No, wait, never mind. In the episode, the Prime Minister of England had to fornicate a pig, and while no Prime Minister or President has ever done this, the former First Lady Ivanka Trump certainly has.
According to recent tax cuts, the Mexican border wall will be getting a funding reduction. This came as a bit of a shocker for many, since the budget has only increased for several years. When adjusting for hyperinflation, the overall price of the wall comes into about $1 silmarillion. How much is a silmarillion, you ask? About 350 pages. Homophobe and former human Mike Pence, when interviewed about the cuts, said that the genetically modified chihuahuas are doing an excellent job at protecting our freedom to be xenophobic bigots.
In other news, bears, what are they? Recent cover-ups by the secret police in Berlin have revealed some shocking news about everyone's favorite fussy murder machines. Images of bears taking photographs of innocent bystanders have gone viral. Experts say this could be remnants of what was formerly known as Russia, but that was before it was annexed into the state that is now known as North Korea. The poor creatures likely had no idea about the fate of the motherland, since bears cannot utilize the internet. And as everybody knows, they only communicate in Morse language. The Russians have been experimenting with the possibility of animal assistance in surveillance and warfare, since they trained dogs with bomb vests to run underneath enemy tanks in World War II, and this went about as well as you would expect, since the dogs ran straight back into the Russians like an over-eager Muslim child. During the Cold War, even America resorted to using animals for spying on these so-called Russians. Although a great nation would never sink so low as to abuse poor dogs, in the interest of freedom, dogs are cute and nice, as we know. Instead we used cats. Cats are assholes. In the 1960s, the CIA spent about $20 million on the autistic kitty. Wait, I'm sorry, I misread that. Acoustic kitty. The cats were supposed to spy on the Kremlin, but the project was cancelled because cats aren't just assholes, they're also insanely stupid. In recent years, animal spies have had a bit of a comeback when it comes to the ever-growing surveillance business. Since the rise of surveillance states, describing the business as big barely even begins to cover it. So much like big business and big pharma, the surveillance business is called Me Big Boy. Anyhow, dogs could be the ideal candidate for non-human spies, since they possess an amazing capability to smell. With a few improvements to the hippocampus area of the brain, we believe that dogs could learn to take selfies, since that only requires an extremely low IQ. Certain breeds of dogs are already being retrofitted with cameras. We now take you over to a live reporter in the field who is currently interviewing one of these cybernetically enhanced dogs.
Gizmo. Today marks the 15th anniversary of Danish Dynamite, where the former president Donald Trump actually kept a campaign promise for once, after he totally annihilated the small Nordic country of Denmark with nuclear weapons of mass destruction. This, of course, was his last act as president before he was promptly executed by the 2020 elect Kanye West. What? Okay, I understand. I've just been informed that our glorious leader will no longer tolerate being called Kanye West and shall henceforth be referred to as Jesus. Failing to comply with the change in pronoun is of course punishable by death ever since the Swedish Civil War of the Trannies in 2023. My apologies, Kanye West. Oh no. Oh, fuck. I said it again, didn't I?
Trees. What are they? New research suggests that trees could be used to record sound since they can detect and react to different frequencies. And much like immigrants, it doesn't work. And now we take you to Stan with the weather.
Thank you, Tom. And by the way, don't mind the misspelling of my name. I'm actually called Stan. This week is looking absolutely stellar, just peachy love. And we'll start with the weather for today. So far it's been really nice and warm, mostly due to global warming. But in a couple minutes, some downfall is bound to occur in this area. In a little over a minute, it's going to be raining North Korean missiles all over America. But do not fret, for right after the bombs, the weather will be great. It's just going to be about 90 degrees, give or take. That's Celsius, by the way, not Fahrenheit. The weather will continue like this up until Thursday when the nuclear winter sets in.